Hey y'all, and welcome back to Woman Heal Podcast. Y'all know we are all about helping you heal, transform, and pivot with purpose. Now, listen, I'm super excited. Y'all know I just got back from celebrating my birthday, baby. Listen, chapter 41 is here. I'm still mad with some of y'all because y'all didn't tell me after 40 you're gonna start being clumsy, your tolerance level is gonna go down. Like some things y'all just didn't share with me, okay? But I also want to say a special thank you to everyone that wished me a happy and blessed birthday, as well as supporting my new empowerment journal line, strategically designed for women of color. I am so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you missed it and you haven't gotten yours, you can get the bundle at carlacannonlawrence.com, but you can shop the individual journals, whether paperback or hardcover, on Amazon. Okay, so thank y'all so much. Let's get into it. Now, there are some conversations, y'all, that don't just inform you, but they shift you, right? They make you pause and reflect and say, "Yo, that's me too." Right? And so today's episode is one of those moments. My guest is a powerhouse in her own right. She walked away from what tried to break her to build what would eventually help heal her. And so my special guest, Miss Nubia Young, she about to come on in, y'all, is more than an entrepreneur and a traveler, but she is a truth teller, honey. She is a trailblazer. Y'all know how we are. We all about blazing them trails, honey, and a healer in motion. She also is here to share how she turned her pain into power, her silence into a platform, and her journey into a guide to help women unlock and activate their inner greatness. Miss Nubia, you know I said I'd be wanting to call you Nubia Queen. You like, please just call me Nubia. Say hey to the people, girl.
Hey everyone, what is going on? And happy belated, Carla. I am glad you are here in the 40 Club. And girl, listen, it's the best club you can be in. I'm trying to tell you.
Awesome. So we just gonna get right into the conversation. I guess like first for starters, I always like to establish connection. Like, okay, how did we find each other? How do we get connected? So before we even do that, tell people a little bit more because you can, I just believe you can share you better than I can share you. So tell the people who you are, what you do, because we have women of that are professionals in business, stay at home moms,
Mhm.
everybody, whoever has a story. So just give people a little insight on who you are and what you do.
Hey everybody, my name is Nubia Young. I am a multi-hyphenate and CEO of Black in Travel and also Black in Tulum. I have been living abroad outside of the United States for almost a decade and create global communities and businesses all over the globe. So that's just a little bit about me. I mean, there's so much more to me and it's so hard. I'm still trying to figure out my 30-second like spiel.
I got you. It's all
I'll
good.
get me rambling.
You did good. You did good. So tell the people like how we got connected. How did we come across each other? How did we get connected?
So the crazy thing about it is I had been following you on social media prior to getting to know you, right? But at the time I was dating someone who I just felt like I was like, yo, you have a lot of anger, and I don't know where that comes from. And they're ex-military, and I was just like, yo, there's this couple on, Instagram that does like counseling. Why don't we just talk to them? And when I tell you, when I reached out to y'all, I had only known this person for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But within that 2 months, we had talked every day, gotten to know each other, what I thought really well. And I wanted to continue to get to know this person, but I also knew that if it was to happen, there were things that we should probably address. And because I didn't know her fully, I just thought it would be healthy to start,
Mm-hmm. Got you.
start talking to somebody and have somebody as an intermediary to say, well, have you tried these things? Or,
Mm.
yeah,
Awesome. So we're gonna get into that situation. So,
yeah.
but first, take us back to the moment when everything changed that led you to saying enough is enough. I think that was one of the big things that transpired in your life. Because here we have those hard conversations. We like to tap into the emotion because we out here in this world, we are well. I don't think you affected by it. You over there in Mexico, but us over here in the U.S., we got Trump in the, yeah, I'm saying it's a whole lot of, we got the Diddy trap. It's a whole lot of Nubia going on, right? And so in the midst of all of that, y'all hadn't been dating that long, and then there was this moment we just getting right in it with you. We just getting right into it, right? But there was this moment because I had no idea what had happened. I was watching online just like everybody else, but the physical abuse was happening. So take us back to that moment of you already gave us some insight on that relationship. Like, hey, we was only together like 2 months, talking like 2 months. We reached out for counseling. Yeah. And then I realized she had all this anger. And so kind of walk us through. I like to just let you go. Like you talk
Okay.
more, I talk less. This is your space. And I'll jump in when I got some crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
So for people that don't know, and I'll just start from the beginning, I
Yes.
had met this young lady on Instagram. She actually, started commenting on my stuff, and she was attractive, you know what I'm saying, and was persuasive on some of the things that she was saying. But our conversations were really great. We had great conversation. So I ended up flying, we ended up flying to Chicago to meet, you know what I mean? We had a great weekend together, and we just decided to continue to talk. You understand what I'm saying? Just get to know each other. It wasn't anything like too much, but it was enough that it was daily. You understand what I'm saying? And so leading into month two, like I stated, I reached out to you because I wanted her and I to be able to learn different tactics to be able to communicate more effectively. Like
Mhm.
I said, our conversations were great, but there was this lingering kind of thing about her that I couldn't pinpoint, but it came across as aggravation,
Mhm.
and that aggravation turned to like anger, and I wasn't sure what the hell was going on. You understand what I'm saying? Because at that moment, it wasn't like I was doing anything specific. It was just like, why you get so angry over something? Like even when we were in Chicago, I asked her to take some pictures of me like standing at some tower or whatever in Chicago, and so she took all the pictures, and then I looked at them. I was like, oh, babe, can you get full body? And she was like, damn, if you check all the pictures, you'll see I took some full. And I was like, yo, I don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? And why are you getting all ups and arms instead of just being like, I did take some, just look through them. So it was things like that. So there was no, and to me, that is abuse, is verbal abuse. Don't tell me to shut up. Don't tell me, swearing at me, things like that. You understand what I'm saying? And we had a 12-year age difference. There was a gap in age, just so people are aware.
Mhm.
And she just came across to have
Uh-oh, you freezing up on me, Nubia.
no way.
Yeah, it's
Am I?
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Because you seem to be fine.
Or it might be my end, but keep going. I can see you and hear you now. Keep going. I ain't gonna stop you again. Maybe
Okay.
it's my end. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Please let me know. Please let me know. So with that said, I started noticing like the upkeep, and like it was happening often. It was happening like every other week. You know what I mean? Where I had to be like, yo, enough. Like, what's up with you? You know what I mean? And I was just like, we can't do this if this is how it's gonna be. And I'm a traveler, I'm a world traveler. So I had, you know, I had shows and conferences I was speaking at, and I was traveling and networking. And even during those times, we're arguing over random stuff like I waited for you to call and took you an hour, and it's, that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, red flag, red flag, red flag on the
Mhm.
play. You know what I mean? So there was a situation that she shared with me about one of her exes, and she said that that ex was trying to take her to court for something, and she was just like, I don't know where this is coming from because we haven't been together since last year, blah blah blah, right? Never really got into the full details. What I said to her was, because most of us hear that from people like, oh, my ex is crazy, or my ex did this, and
And
we
they be
take
the
them for
crazy
face.
one.
I found that out very, very quickly. You know what I mean? But I took it at face value and I was like, I'm sorry you're going through that. And she then used that excuse as why she's been so frustrated. But she was like, I didn't know how to tell you. You know what I mean? Because we are just getting to know each other and I didn't want you to think something. You get what I'm trying to say? So I was just
Mhm.
like, well, how are we going to get to know each other if you don't share?
Mhm.
you know so we decided to start over. That was the case, Carla. We decided to start over, and I invited her to come to Mexico to see me in my home. By this point, we had been talking for 5 months, and this was supposed to be the fresh start. And she comes to Mexico, and I pick her up from the airport. Granted, everything I'm about to tell you happened all within 4 to 5 hours. Okay, 4 to 5 hours. And I picked her up from the airport. We went to my house. I took her to my friend's pool party for her birthday. We had a grand time. On the way back from the pool party to the house, this is probably around 11:30 at night, she says something like, I didn't know how to respond because you were introducing me as your friend. And I was just like, but we're not to get like, this is us getting to know each other all over again, right? Like, you are my friend, but I recall just calling you by your name. But then that turned into a problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? The moment we get in the house, now she huffing and puffing. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, look, you don't have to be here if this is how you're going to react. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want this energy in my space. The moment I said that, it sounded like I was telling her to get out. So she turned what I said and was like, "Oh, so you brought me all the way here so you can kick me out, da 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 da." And I was like, "That's not what I said, but you can leave if this is how you're going to respond and react. Because I'm not going to be in my home yelling and all. I don't do that. You know what I mean?" And then from there on, everything turned physical. And just to give people who don't know her or I am 4 foot 11. She is almost 6 feet.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I mean? And what she didn't realize was that I have cameras in my home. I had cameras throughout my house. And because we were out, I had my cameras running. So I forgot to turn them off when we came in the house. So my cameras had caught her towering over me, chasing me through the house. Um, Screaming obscenities and telling me she didn't give a fuck about me and all these different things, excuse my language.
Mhm.
Calling me all types of names and all types of things, and even to the point of her picking up a knife. um and she had physically assaulted me pretty bad. Like, if she had two more punches in me before, I probably would have had severe brain damage or something, because it was that bad.
Mhm. Mhm. I know that we just taking it in because that was it. It was so much, so soon, so quick. What was going through your mind in that moment? Like, were you feeling like, okay, I'm being punked. Ashton Kutcher about to come out. They done brought the show back. Like, what is happening? Like, what were you feeling? What was going through your mind during that time? How did you? Yeah, let's start there.
I think I was just like, why is she doing that? Like, why are you doing this? You know what I'm saying? And like, God, please get her to stop. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I felt like every time I yelled her name and said stop, it just fueled the fire. That's what it felt like. So, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a fighter. I'm a chick that don't really take a lot of shit, this and the other. Um, but to be assaulted and attacked, it's a different level. You get what I'm saying? So I spent most of that, it felt like forever. It's probably went on for about 20, 25 minutes. I spent most of that time just trying to block. myself from from the assault because it felt like she was taking every bit of rage she had out on me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? It felt like um it was a whole different person, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that to excuse her behavior, whatever, but if you looked at her face, it looked like it was totally washed over by some demonic or
I was
evil
gonna
spirit.
say
I'm not gonna
demonic.
lie.
I was
Yeah.
thinking demonic. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you
Oh,
can see it in the video, like her just her stance, her,
I had to ask you, was that who we met with? Because she looked completely different.
completely different. Hmm.
And the reason why I wanted to highlight this, and I think you ended up sharing this about domestic violence and same gender loving relationships. I tell people all the time, like relationships are relationships. Like, yes, same gender is gonna be different and different challenges, but you go through the same stuff, communication and
Hmm.
all of that. So how did you get out of that? Where, yeah.
It's all crazy when you go back. I mean, I think because I had the videos, it made a little bit more sense. But there was a one point where I it was almost like fight or flight kicked in, and she had me in the corner, but I realized that my back terrace area door was kind of right where my head was. And
Mm-hmm.
even though the door was shut, I just decided to scream as loud as I'm talking about, just I wouldn't stop screaming. You know what I'm saying? I screamed until I couldn't scream anymore. And I think that made her get up off me. You understand what I'm saying? I don't recall, like, I don't know what snapped inside of her to stop. You understand what I'm saying? But at this point there was blood, there was, all types of stuff. So I don't know if it registered for her like, oh fuck. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But she got up off of me. And it didn't stop. It just kept going, but verbally. You understand what I'm saying? I ran to my kitchen, which was like adjacent, because I had an open air concept home, like the kitchen, living room, dining room is kind of all one big ass room.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran to the kitchen and I grabbed a knife, and I'm on one end of the one side of the kitchen and she's on the other. You get what I'm saying? With the island in between us. So she reached over and grabbed a knife as well and was like, well, if we gonna do this, and I was just like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, please just stop and leave, like, just leave. And at one point, she talked about her kid's father, she talked about her daughter, she talked about all this. I don't know. She was just spitting obscenities and stuff like that at me. And then she just threw the knife and walked towards the bedroom. Like, I swear to God, it was like that. She was like, fuck it. I don't, she literally was like, I'm not touching you no more, and walked off. And as she was walking off, you could see me running to the front door and getting out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she comes, this is the crazy part. My cameras catch her because by this point I'm outside hiding in the bushes somewhere because I had ended up calling my property manager because it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I live in Mexico. You understand what I'm saying? And my property manager lived in the next, complex over.
Mm-hmm.
So I just called her number and I just was yelling like, help, just I need help, just come to the house, help. You know what I mean? I wasn't on the phone with her. I just had the phone in my hand, like as I'm going out the house. And I just hid and waited for her to come pick me up because I can hear her saying, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. You know what I mean? And my cameras picked this girl up coming out of my bedroom, and she starts calling my name. And she's like, Nubia, just like that. Nubia. And she looked around, and then she turns around and she notices the front door is open. And what you hear her say is fuck. And she goes outside and she's like, Nubia, where are you? Like if we're gonna talk this out.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Very, very calm, very chill. It was almost like two separate people.
And you had never been through anything like that before.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm that girl, like many of us would be like, I'll be damned if somebody put their hands on me. I'm gonna da 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 da. And then when it happens to you, you're like,
Shocked.
yeah,
Like, what?
it's
How
yeah,
did
it
you
doesn't always work like that.
Yeah, how did you now we're getting over into the how did you process all of that? So now you in the car with your property manager, she's getting you to safety. Y'all ended up having court. Like how did that play out
So
to
you got to remember this played out in Mexico, and she lives in Houston. So we had called, and I lived in a gated community.
Mhm,
So we had called the police and the security of the gated community. They found her in the community walking,
mhm,
and they detained her. The police came, they asked me if I want to press charges. I say yes. And I was like, yes, keep her, like detain her. But what people got to understand is in Mexico, money talks. And so they had her detained, but I believe they detained her until she didn't have nothing else to give. Does that make sense?
mhm,
Because um I had to go to the hospital, and while I'm in the hospital, don't ask me how, but this girl is texting me, telling me that the police are what did she say? The police are, she didn't use the term assault, but she was like, they're trying to kill me in here, and they're robbing me, and the least you can do is get me out of here, and I'll leave you alone. I, of course, ignored the message. I didn't say anything. And then she called my phone more than once. Didn't respond. She did that up into the next day. I'm still at the hospital getting CTs. You know, my face at this point was swelling. You
mhm,
know, I had taken pictures and video of my face and what had happened. And that is the information that I used to post 2 days later. I posted 2 nights later on social media what had happened to me.
mhm. And this was how long ago for those that are listening?
It happened on August 8th, the night of August 8th. And I put it out there
2024.
2020. What are we in? 2025? 2024.
Okay.
August 20, yeah, August 8th, 2024. It'll be a year soon. And I
How did
posted on August 10th.
tell us about that post.
The crazy thing about it is I had, what I failed to mention is I had bought her ticket to come. So I had contacted United to cancel her return flight. And they was like, oh, that flight went out this morning at 6 a.m. She had already gotten on the plane. That's the only reason why I knew that she had got out of Mexico.
Mhm,
You understand what I'm saying? So when United told me that she had already, you know, caught the flight and was on her way back to the United States, or had already landed in the United States, I, of course, with it only had been like a day and a half, almost 2 days. I didn't block her at that point or whatever. I went to her Instagram and I seen that she was posting like she was having girl, she posted like stories like, yo, you know what I'm saying? My grandmother's a bad one, da 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 da, and oh, I'm going here tonight. Like nothing. Like she had not just been, assaulted a woman, been detained, and,
mhm,
had to flee Mexico. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And that I got so angry. I got so angry. How dare you? You understand what I'm saying? And that's when I was like, you know what? I got a platform and I'm going to use it.
mhm,
And this isn't about her. This is about, if I don't say something, it's going to continue where people get assaulted or they're in verbally abusive relationships, physical abusive relationships, and they don't say anything.
mhm,
Because they are ashamed, scared. They don't want to come across like I should have known better or something. And I have a pretty decent platform, you know what I mean? I put that stuff on social media. And I'm trying to tell you, girl, it took 2 seconds. The moment I hit post, my phone blew up.
mhm.
That post went
It was
and was
shocking. Like
shared.
we wouldn't have never expected that from you. Like, because you're
Mhm.
so live life and you're so and I'm looking at and you posted like the actual camera,
Actual video.
the
Mhm.
video, the pictures of your face. Tell us about that and the response and all that. So your phone blew up, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I hadn't even had an opportunity to call my friends and tell them what happened.
Hmm.
So the same way you found out about it on social is the same way almost everybody found out about it on social. And to be honest with you, my closest friends were very angry at me for doing so because they were like, "Why didn't you call me?" And I'm like, "It's not about you. We're not talking, you know." And honestly, I put my phone on silent and I told people I just don't have the capacity to talk right now. Furthermore, my face was so swollen I couldn't talk. Let's just start there. I couldn't eat. I had to drink out of one side of my mouth with a straw. I couldn't eat solid foods. Like my face was jacked up. So all I really wanted was to take these pain pills and lay down. It wasn't until maybe 24 hours later that I got up and I noticed that people have went crazy on that. They're like, "What's her name? Where she live?" You know, I'm coming out there. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is not about retaliation. This is about sharing the fact that no matter who you are, you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You can be assaulted. You understand me? And it triggered a lot of people as well. I got a lot of DMs, I got a lot of emails, I got a lot of text messages. So what I decided to do was take the actual video down, but keep my photos. Do you
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? But by then it had already gone viral.
Mhm.
Um, I received an email from a young lady who told me that she had a relationship with that person a year prior to that,
Mhm.
and that she was also assaulted, and she had went to the Harris County Police and put a charge against her. So that same story that I told you that she told me about the ex, well, that's the ex. But the story that she told me was not the story that it was.
Mhm. Mhm.
She apparently locked this girl in a closet. The girl sent me pictures. She had like really, what's that called when you get that redness in your eyes because the
A blood clot in her eye?
yeah, yep. Lip busted, all of those things. And when the girl, she put her phone number in the email, I immediately called her. And
Mhm.
come to find out, they were together for almost 2 years. And within that 2 years, she had done that multiple times to her. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? Like different times. And it was New Year's, I guess, of 2024 that took that rocked the cradle for her. And she was like, enough is enough. And she called the police on the woman. Um, but I didn't know all that. I
Mhm.
didn't know none of that. What she told me was the ex was crazy. She lying to the police saying I stole her phone and her pocketbook. And I don't even know what the charges are for. No, the charges were a felony. It was a felony charge for choking her.
Mhm.
Because when you put your hands, and she had marks, I guess, on her neck that she could prove that that had happened and all those kind of things. Yeah.
How did that experience change dating for you?
Mm. I think that I had to it was hard for me to process everything because so many things were happening at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Um, I was actually supposed to go to Panama to look at property that Monday. This happened on a Saturday. I had all these speaking engagements lined up and everything else. I didn't have time to think, nevertheless, try to even focus on dating. But what I did do is I said to myself, Nubia, you need to pay attention to how people speak and how they react. Like the thing about it is, I've seen the signs, but I never thought that it would happen to me, number one. And that's naive for me to think like that. But I also try to relate to her trauma. You understand what I'm saying? As a single mother, as somebody who at 32 at that time, because she was 30, I think 31, 32, and I'm 47. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, when I was in my 30s, I didn't have it all together either. You get what I'm saying? I was trying to relate when that's not my job. You understand what I'm saying? I can meet you where you are, I can see you where you are, but at the end of the day, she and I should have never dated because she was never at a point that I needed for a partner to be at. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn like you can't put yourself backwards. Just because you were there once doesn't mean
Mhm.
that you should revert back or try to help that person get to where you are, because it's up for them to do that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So through therapy, what I learned is that I had a fixer mentality. I was a people pleaser. You know what I'm saying? There were things about me and my patterns that I had to take into consideration to say, I'm not doing this in dating anymore, ever. You understand what I'm saying? You come with your trauma. You know
That's what
what?
I
I
meant.
hope.
Like what that's you get into it like not immediately dating, but it's like I know that changed your world, like your thought process, because y'all met on
Correct.
Instagram from her liking stuff.
Mhm.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'm just like, yo, we all need therapy. I don't care who you are. We all need therapy, but it's not up for me to want to come into your world and love you through your traumas. Like, you need to love yourself through your traumas. You need to be able to work through your shit and understand your patterns and become self-aware. That's a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a whole nother level. And unfortunately, a lot of people tend to consistently still point fingers. And she was in that position to continue to point fingers, right? It's my mother, it's my kid's father, it's this person, it's all these people, but you're not looking at your own demons and your own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I believe she took it out on me. You know what I'm saying?
Because you were
Because
holding her accountable.
I was holding her accountable and just being like, yo, like, go to therapy. You need to talk to somebody. Let's, and I'm asking questions. And I'm that person. I just do that with my friends and or whoever I'm with. I like to ask questions. I like to talk through things. I like to ask about, well, how does that make you feel? Well, what do you think? And I like to do those things. You know what I mean? And I don't think she's ever been challenged.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I know you went to therapy. What has that healing journey been like? Because this was August of last year. We're now in June
June.
of 2025.
Hmm.
And I'm just, I know I'm looking away, but I'm even seeing like just your post and I don't know, it's like this to me. I'm gonna tell you, me outside looking in, I'm like, this girl has the other person, the abuser had no idea what she unlocked when she put her hands on this woman. She has no, tell us about that. Because I just see, like, I saw Nubia before, but it was like this. You can tell when someone has entered into that space of accountability, responsibility, awareness. When you're like you talked about, I'm all about self-awareness.
Yeah.
Just see like it's like there was a shift, even a spiritual shift as well.
Yeah.
But tell us about how did you pick those pieces? Because we have listeners, we may even have women that are in a situation right now. Because we give people the benefit of the doubt, like we take that grace thing a little too far. And I think once we start healing, you learn to stop playing about you like that. Like, nah, I'm not gonna give you a pass. You did that one time. That's it. Friendship,
Oh,
relationship.
yeah, it's a wrap.
So tell us, yeah, like your journey to healing and recovery as well, like the wounds that people could not see.
Yeah. So along with that email that I told you from that young lady,
Mm-hmm.
she and I developed a friendship at that time, and she really helped me get through the healing process. Because to be honest with you, and I know this might sound crazy to some people, but to know that it happened to another woman made
Hmm.
me feel like it wasn't me. Does that make sense?
That's why
And
we
it
have
made me
these
feel,
conversations. Yes, I
yeah,
get
and it
it.
made me feel like, okay, this is her pattern. And out of that, we found another woman that she had did this to years prior to her. Exact, yeah, that face that you just gave, yeah. So
Hmm.
now this is three women, and
Hmm.
then come to find out she got divorced because she had did it to her ex-husband. She had assaulted him, and
Hmm.
then I got to speak to him as well. I got to speak to every single person that she has assaulted in the last 8 years.
What did that do for you? I'm sure that made you like, I'm not crazy. It's not, it was like a form of, I don't want to say validation, but it was
No,
kind of
it
like,
was. It
okay,
actually
okay, tell us.
absolutely was.
Okay.
It was a form of validation, but I knew I wasn't crazy. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? I was just trying to figure out what did I miss. You understand what I'm saying? Even though I seen certain things, like did I realize, like, I knew there was this demonic side of her because there were other things that had happened. You understand what I'm saying? Where she got upset when we were together and I went to like put my hand on her leg and she just like, brushed my hand off, but really, aggressively. You understand what I'm saying? Or I've had to say things. So there were things, and I was just like, Nubia, why did you allow yourself to continue with this person knowing that they weren't treating you with that respect that you needed? But see, she would always come back and be like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have, da, 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 da. So I was taking that as accountability. Do you understand what I'm saying? And after the whole situation played out and I learned more about her past and I learned more about the lies she told or the ways that she tried to come up seem like, I'm in this yoga community in Houston and I meditate and I do all these things, but the time that we were together, I didn't see you do none of that shit. So,
Mhm.
you know
Mhm.
what I mean? It's like you're hiding behind this facade, these smoke and mirrors. It unleashed, like you said, it unleashed and unlocked for me that I was a voice for women, that I needed to share my story. And there was so many Me Too stories that came out of it. And I was just like, look, what we're not going to do is we're not going to do this shit in silence anymore. Let's hold these people accountable. You understand what I'm saying? And I didn't do none of that out of malice. I did it because I wanted every single female in Houston to watch out for this person.
Mhm.
Because I said the next time she gets into a situation, it might not be a next time for that girl.
Mhm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I had only been with the person 5 months and had never done anything to her for her to attack me that way. Imagine if a young lady was with her and did something or said something or sparked something, she could kill her.
Mhm.
And I don't want that to happen. And it was crazy because the young lady that reached out to me said that she felt responsible in some way because she followed me and she seen a video of me and that girl in Chicago and thought to herself, maybe it was her that made all that stuff happen. And now here I am making that person happy. So she didn't say anything. And
Say
then when
that
she seen the
again.
video, the girl was following me, the ex-girlfriend.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that. I got
Mhm.
thousands of followers. So she had been following me and knew who I was. But I had posted something of me in I'm just going to say her name because I put her name out there. Jessica. Her name is Jessica. I had posted a video of Jessica and I when we were in Chicago, and her ex girlfriend had seen it and thought to herself, I'm glad Jessica found somebody to make her happy. Maybe she thought she had caused some of that stuff.
Got you.
You
Okay.
see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so she just thought it was her, and that was her and Jessica's dynamic. And
Mhm.
and she was just like, through the photos and the videos and whatever, she was just like, I'm glad they're happy. And then, no lie, what, a month, 2 months later, I post this video of Jessica attacking and assaulting me. She said she felt so guilty
Mhm.
because she could have said something like, just be careful, and but she didn't know how to approach that because she felt like if she reached out to me and was like, hey, the girl that you're seeing did this to me, she wasn't sure if I was going to believe her or if I was going to attack her like, who are you, you're just jealous, just whatever she thought
Blast
that I
on
wouldn't
social
have.
media with a screenshot. People be doing the most, but I can see that. Okay.
So, but she felt guilty because she said she wanted to reach out and say something. And, she felt like Jessica wouldn't have had the opportunity to assault me had she took her case even further. Do you understand what I'm saying? So she didn't do charges against Jessica because Jessica has a 9-year-old daughter. And
Mhm.
she felt like, I don't want to take this child's mother away from her if I press full charges on her.
Mhm.
So what Houston has this program. I don't even ask me. It's some asinine program that the court ordered her to go to therapy. The court ordered her to stay out of trouble, and the court ordered her to stay away from the ex. Now, remind you, this court order went down 2 days before she came to Mexico and assaulted me. But Houston can't do anything about it because it happened in another country and it's not their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
I said staying out of trouble mean just in Houston?
Right.
So she could go anywhere in the world and assault people and do whatever, and y'all will not use that to lock her up.
How did you reconcile that? Like, what did, so she was never, they didn't do anything in Mexico. She was released. What was that like?
Oh, it was devastating. Don't get me wrong. I thought of every which way to vindicate myself. And I was just like, why am I expelling this much energy?
Mm,
God got my back. I'm
mm,
a child of God. And she's only gonna get so far. You get what I'm saying? Because I've already exposed her.
mm,
So now all the people who thought they knew her are looking at her sideways. She
mm,
can't walk or do as much as she used to in Houston without somebody being like, hey, aren't you that girl?
mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that's you. So,
Hmm.
so I do want to ask you this question as we get ready to, kind of close out. How did grief, because we still talking about the process, because you got like in the moment things happen, and then you have the aftermath, because you have physical healing, emotional healing, but then you also are in that time trying to fight to get justice for this situation. Then you're having these conversations with the ex-husband, the ex-girlfriend, that was a lot. And then in that process, because I'm sure you were hopeful or thought initially, that's why you invited her to Mexico, like there's a possibility that we could be a thing. So we have to grieve that, right? So how did grief show up for you, not just from the relationship ending, but also from shedding your old self?
You know what? I ended up taking my platform and I created a series called The Pursuit. And The Pursuit is talking about my life and the pursuit of all things, including a healthy love and, happiness. So I met with a communication specialist to talk about, you know what I'm saying, ways to have effective communication within your relationships, whether it's romantic or platonic. I met with a relationship expert and a therapist, a sex therapist. I met with a journalist. And so I've only rolled out the first episode, which is about the communication, but the second and third and fourth episode are about domestic violence and, you know, in relationships, period. But I do talk about same sex. So I just continue to talk. I continue to share my story. I continue to grieve. This doesn't stop. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? I continue to grieve. At the point that I was with her, I really wanted to be with her. I wanted to love her through her shit. I wanted to show up for her. I wanted her to be better. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm also not going to be somebody's punching bag.
Mhm.
Like this is not a I forgive you for what you did to me type situation. She did it. She's going to have to live with it. She'll have to, deal with her shit. But when it comes down to me, I just continue to speak about it. I continue to cry about it. I continue to grieve about it. I'm just not as angry about it anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Because I believe wholeheartedly, and I know people are going to probably roll their eyes at this, but I believe that God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle.
Mhm.
And that everything that we go through, if we try to find the lesson in it, it will be less difficult to deal with. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Mhm.
So even going through the situation, God didn't allow me to go through so much physical pain. I looked like I was, but I didn't feel the actual pain of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
God allowed me to rest. God allowed me to reflect. God allowed me to unlearn to learn. God allowed me to process and grieve. Like I was able to do all those things through the grace of God because what I could have did is I could have made myself feel so guilty and ashamed and I could have, girl, she emailed me 3, 4 times after it. You get what I'm saying? Sent me pictures of her daughter, all types of, yes, yes, all kinds of manipulative, narcissistic shit. I didn't allow none of this stuff to keep me down. You get what I'm saying? I knew where my heart was. I knew I did everything with a pure intention. I
Mm,
knew I was showing up as, my best self.
mm,
So all I could do is take that and be like, okay, what is God trying to teach you here, Nubia?
mhm,
And it was just like, you need to use your discernment better, chick. Like when somebody shows you who they are, you freaking listen. And now when things happen or somebody does or says something that makes me trigger something, and I'd be like, I don't know if that works for me. That's what I'll say. I don't know if this works for me. I think you're a great person, but I think our time stops here.
mhm, mm,
Our time stops here. I wish you nothing but the best.
mhm.
And I leave.
Have you dated since then?
No.
But
I've been single the whole time.
that's what so is it
Yeah.
is it scary? Is it a challenge? Is it
No,
or
no.
you just focused on work or because you're a beautiful woman, like out here living your
Thank you.
life. You're welcome. You travel all these places. And I hear so many stories about successful women struggling in that relationship space. That is, and it's across the board. I remember, I don't know if you know the actress, Black Mother of Hollywood, Jennifer Lewis. She had a
Mhm.
situation where a swindler got her and she was like, I'm Jennifer motherfucking Lewis. Like this happened to me. More women now are sharing their stories. You know what I mean? But I'm like, how I know that changed dating for you. I just know it did. I,
Yeah, but you
I'm
know what,
chilling.
leeches, when
Mm,
you're a light, right? It's just like when you shine a light and it's dark outside, what happens? You get all
yeah.
these gnats and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same way with life. I know I have a light. I know I'm a light worker. I know I'm successful, and I know I'm just at the start of my success. So
Mm,
at the end of the day, I can't be with somebody where they are feeling like they're inferior, because I don't make people feel inferior to me at all. I'm still just a regular human being, just like Jennifer Lewis or anybody else. We're still
mhm,
just humans. So it's very hard when dating, because you don't know if you're targeted because of your success and the money that you have. You
mhm.
don't know if, you know what I'm saying? But as you get to talk to people, what I'm realizing is that as I move into my next dating phase, I need to date a woman that has just as much to lose as than myself, to be honest
Date
with you.
up. Date up.
Yes, I got to date up. I got to date a woman who, has her own, and I'm not talking about a job. I'm talking about has her own where, she's passionate about the things that she does. It's not just about ambition. I dated, my friend said this to me the other day. She was like, girl, you dated some cuties, but she was like, they all scrubs. She was like, you need to date somebody who is on your level. And I never liked that term, on your level, because it makes it seem like we can't be of peers and equal. You know what I'm saying? But I understand what they mean now. You know what I mean?
A
Because the
higher
kind of
level of emotional intelligence too.
all of it, yeah,
Healing.
all of
Be
it.
about your biz. If I tell you, keep going. You're doing good. Sorry.
No, it's no, everything that you're saying. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? But at the same time, the kind of woman that I am is rare. I'm a rare one. I'm a diamond, I shine, but the thing about it is, if you're with me, you're going to shine just as bright, because I believe in taking people with me. I believe in loving on them as much, but at this old age of 47, going on to 48, if you're not bringing reciprocity to my table and effort, you might as well not even sit your ass down, cuz this table is not for that. And that's friendships and platonic and romantic. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just have this level of non-negotiables in my life and boundaries that I set. You're not going to talk to the first time you talk to me off the side of your neck. It's a wrap. I don't mind conflict. I don't mind conflict resolution. I don't mind us bumping heads, but how we talk to each other, it's going to be with respect.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you call me out of my name, the first time you say, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So my boundaries are much more.
A lot. Yeah, I got it. You got to enforce those. I thank you so much for sharing your story. Like, I know we didn't get to get into Black Entertainer. I'm gonna have to bring you back. Like, but I do want to ask you this. What would you take a moment and share what you would say to anyone that may be listening? Because we're hoping like, because you never know who's gonna tune in. We put these things
Mhm.
out there into the world. We don't know where people are in their walk and their journey. It could even be a guy. It's not even about gender. It could
Yeah.
be anyone that's in an abusive verbal abuse. Because you got some people that will say, "Well, oh, he just talked to me crazy, or they talk to me crazy, but they don't hit me." Yeah, but it's damaging your spirit. So, what would you say to that person that is right now suffering in silence in any capacity as it relates to whether it's abuse, unhappiness, staying with somebody for image, fear of being alone, in your own way, your Nubia Queen style way, how would you, from one healer to another, how would you pour it?
Ooh, I would say, and I'm going to talk to the abuser and the abusee.
Mm,
How about that? I'm going to say to the abusee, the person who is going through a situation where somebody is verbally, physically, emotionally abusive towards you, you deserve more. You deserve more. And I'm trying to tell you that pursuit that I have been telling you I've been on, I try to find love and peace and become whole through this external process of dating people when in actuality I had to love on self. I know it sounds all cliche and stuff, but when you get a certain level of self-love, all of that other stuff cannot penetrate that. And that's more important than a person. You understand what I'm saying? Let you be the loss for them, not the other way around. You're not losing anything. You're gaining by letting them go. To the abuser, because I honestly, truthfully believe many of us have been on both
mm-hmm,
sides
mm-hmm,
and they don't speak that enough. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying?
mm-hmm,
It's time for you to start looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, why am I doing this to these people who love me?
mm-hmm,
Right? Because most times you're abusing somebody who loves you,
mm-hmm,
who genuinely loves you,
mm-hmm,
and they're getting the brunt of it. You need to look at your patterns. You need to acknowledge that pain that's causing you to be so angry, to want to lash out, to want to speak ill or do the unthinkable. You get what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Because these things that you're doing cannot be reversed. You think hitting your girlfriend or throwing something at her or pushing her down is, you know, is I don't know if it's control or dominance, but that one push could push her into something where she's now broke a neck, and you can't take that back.
mm-hmm,
This is not the cartoons. You understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Get healed. Get better. You know what I mean? Do it for yourself. Do it for your if you have kids, do it for your potential to love real and to receive love also, because I think that's what they do. They self-sabotage in these ways, right? Because they say they want love, but they don't know how to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like a big ass kid throwing a tantrum.
Mhm, mhm,
They're fearful of rejection, they're fearful of being actually seen, they're fearful of being judged, and they just lash out. And
mhm,
it's like, nah, boo, you need to recognize your patterns, and make change, period. And just to end all, I would say for everybody, I don't give a crap if this is a lover, a family member, a kid, set your boundary. You're not gonna do. You know what I'm saying? And don't argue. It's no argue back and forth. It's setting boundaries and removing yourself from the situation. Let them be able to miss you from a distance. Go on no contact, whether that means blocking, deleting, whatever you need to do in order to get yourself there. Because some people are not strong enough, right? Because in that grieving process, you miss all the moments.
mhm,
And it's the moments that bring you back
mhm,
until another situation happened and you'd be like, damn, they didn't change. And 9 times out of 10, it happens pretty immediate.
mhm, mhm.
Stop focusing on those moments. Please stop focusing on those moments because the moments are not going to lead you to, a happy. I'd rather be not lonely. I'd rather be alone and be loved on by my friends, by my community, because there will be someone one day that will match my love and be able to be equally yoked.
Absolutely. I thank you. How do you feel after, have you shared this like in this type of space before, like you just on your platform? So thank you. We were the first to sit down and talk through this. How do you feel
But this is a full
talk?
circle moment. You got to remember, because you were the first person to be
I
in our
know.
in our space. You
Yeah.
got to see this. And what happened, Carla? What happened after we met with you? Literally, tell your fans what happened shortly after we met with you.
You tell them, Nubia, what happened?
What you gonna tell them? Because at the end of the day, we had the session, and it wasn't even a week later that I reached out and was like, "We're not together." She
Yeah.
doesn't, you get what I'm saying? I was like,
Well, the red flag,
"It's
I'm gonna
not."
be honest. So the red flag for us, what? Because you can look at it two ways, right? Because it's like, okay, you can get with somebody and maybe one person is in a healing space and you're like, hey, we recognize these things and but in reality, two
Hmm.
months after knowing somebody, y'all should not be in therapy or couples coaching, or you get what I'm saying? And you seemed more, if I'm being honest, you asking me to share, you seemed more, I'm just being honest. I'm not,
Hey,
any,
you
y'all
ain't
know
gonna make me
me.
feel no kind of way. I know.
Yeah, I just tell it like I see it. Yeah, I don't comment on a lot of things, but I can tell you really you were open, you were communicative, but this person with Jessica was just so shut down even then. And I was like, how we going? I don't do the pulling teeth thing. Like I was like, one person wants it, but the other doesn't. And it's like, or doesn't seem to be as willing. And that's because that's a deeper issue. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so glad you spoke to the abuse as well as the abuser because it's kind of like with the R. Kelly and even with Diddy's situation, I'm like, and I get it, it's you done some horrible things, but I'm like, God got somebody that can reach him that help turn that, because there has to be something. It's like you got stuck in your trauma. You got what happened if everybody turns their back? It's like who's gonna help? But you got to be allowed to help because, like you said, we've been on both sides.
Hmm. Some people, I mean, Diddy, I feel like it's just abused his power, but you get what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And I mean, like I said, I don't know why the abuser does it. It could be a control thing, it could be a power thing, but
a
whatever it
whole lot.
is, they need to figure out why it is that makes them feel like they want to abuse. Why don't you just want to love? Like, that's
Love
the whole, I don't even understand it. I'm like, love is so beautiful.
it
Like,
is.
especially when you have somebody who wants to love you.
Yes.
Like,
I
you
guess
know what I mean?
my point was more like no matter what side you're on, like
Hmm.
there's grace. You can change. You don't have to stay that way. Like once you like my
Yeah.
hope is even somebody like Jessica, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you created a trail of what you thought was gonna be broken women, fragmented people. You've done a lot. But you don't got to stay that person. That could be a part of
Mm-mm.
your story to say, hey, I was like that. Or it was because of a Nubia Young that called me out. I would still be womanizing. I would still be abusing. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying? But I think sometimes we get stuck on that side of, well, this is just the way it is. And I'm a hide. And I'm like, no, you can heal too. So,
Yeah,
you
no, and
can,
I wish that for her. I mean, she has a young child to raise.
yeah,
I really wish that she can. And I don't know what she does today. I
yeah.
don't ask, I don't look, I don't, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I have a court restraining order. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I don't go seeking to find out what Jessica is
Yeah.
doing at this point in time. But what you said would be ideal, and it would make me feel, if I was to see that story come to fruition, where it was just like, I made change with who I was because I was called out on my shit, and I got to see my shit. Cause sometimes they don't, I
Mhm.
swear to God, when I tell you, when she switched and it was like, Nubia, like, where am I? Let's talk about it type shit. Let's sit down and kumbaya. I don't know if they ever really get an opportunity to understand the damage that they do.
Right. Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what goes on in that mindset. You get what I'm saying? I don't even think that there is a certain level of, like, I'm sorry. I don't. I just think that it's more like they still hold on to what they think you did or what they think you said, or how they think you acted as a reason.
Mm-hmm. To
Does that make
justify.
sense? To
Mm-hmm.
justify the shits.
Mm-hmm.
And until people hold accountability for themselves and their behavior and stop trying to say, well, you was in my face, or I don't know, whatever the case may be, there is no excuse. There's no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we just got to focus on ourselves and really just heal through this stuff. Like I'm easy to say that I have abandonment issues, and some of the things that I allowed to happen was because I was afraid of people walking away from me, because I wanted and I gravitated to what I thought was love in those moments because I wanted it so bad. You get what I'm saying? But those are my childhood issues that I'm bringing into my adulthood. And of course, it's, why I get into situations like this. I mean, this is a dire ass situation. I'm just thankful I'm not dead. You understand what I'm saying?
Thankful as well. Yes.
Because it could have been that. It could have happened.
And I think, and that's what I'm hoping to highlight, like that shove, that push, that one, it don't take 10, like you said, if she had hit you a couple of more times, you was like, I could have been brain dead. I could have, but we don't. I'm just glad it was one for you. And I had that happen to me before. I got hit one time and it was like, oh yeah, it's a wrap. Like you just hit me in my eye, like what? And it was by a guy
Yeah.
like years ago. But I'm grateful for your story, your healing. You look amazing. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
because that's a chapter we met in, right? And now I'm able to journey with you through other chapters. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see like what God does in your life. One last question I got for you, real quick.
Tell me what you got. We
Let
can
me
talk
ask
all
you,
day,
like,
girl. 'Cause
I know, but one last thing, you got to tell the people how to get connected with you because you talked about them series, and I'm so ready to tune into that with the experts and all of that. And
yes.
tell people how to get connected with you and your
And I
web.
hope to get you on the show too, by the way, man.
Let's
We
do
got
it,
to talk.
friend.
We got to talk.
I'm
We got
trying
to
to come to
talk.
Mexico and have a girls trip. Hey.
Well, okay. Well, since you just mentioned Mexico, we're going to start there. So, August 8th through 11th, we are hosting Kismet Pride. It's myself and Hella Good out of LA, SK and Soy, and we are almost sold out. We have Jerry Johnson hosting. We have a slew of influencers like the Muses, Jade Fox, Mal from Netflix. We have it's just going to be amazing. Okay. So come see us in Mexico. Okay. And it's just Black queer pride. You know what I'm saying? Just beautiful Black queer women from all over, queer individuals as well. Sorry to say just women. But yes, come. So that's that. Also, Black in Tulum is going to be turning 5, July 23rd through the 27th. So the 5-year anniversary is going down and it's going to be jam packed with some amazing activations and events. We got comedy shows, we got R&B lives, we got pool parties, yacht parties, all the things happening. And then also, oh, Jesus, I got a lot going on. Tea Talks with Nubia has just been launched on YouTube. It's called The Pursuit. This is the series that I'm referring to where I'm talking everything about love, life, connections, and relationships. And I'm going to be sitting down with some dope women of color who are just sharing their expertise in different topics and fields. And then last but not least, I am launching the Soft Life Retreats called Ori I Travel, and we're going to Cape Town, South Africa at the top of the year 2026. And I'm releasing those trips at the
I'm so
top of
happy. I love
July.
it.
Honey, Essence just did a feature, and the interest form is just. Oh, I'm just amazed at how many people are interested in wanting to go on these soft life retreats with me. It's just been amazing. And there's so much more coming down the pipeline. So Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
give them your social media, your website, so they can get tapped in.
Ooh, okay. Well, you can find me on Instagram at I am Nubia Young. There is a E at the end of Young. You can find me at blackintravel.com, and that's IN. You can find me at blackintulum.com. And lastly, nubiayoung.com. Those are the three websites. And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, it's just been beautiful.
This was so refreshing. How do you feel after sharing another level of
It's just
healing?
a part of I've always been transparent about my story. Anybody who knows me, I mean, even this person, I'm surprised. She can't be surprised that I'm speaking about it because I talk about my life anyway. That's how I built my platform. I podcasted, for the 4 years prior to me starting Black in Tulum. I've just always been transparent. So most of my audience have followed my journey over the last decade. So
Mm,
this is just another part of my journey. Do you understand what I'm
got you.
saying? So
Mhm,
it doesn't really make me feel any kind of way more than it does. Um, it's just another chapter.
mhm.
And that's another thing. My book will be coming out soon because I am in the process of writing my memoir. So I would say,
Hey,
yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
keep
there's a
me
lot
posted on that.
happening.
I'll be looking out for that. Absolutely. So listen,
Yes.
y'all, listen. We just got finished listening to the phenomenal Nubia Young. Y'all, I hope that you took something from this conversation. Make sure you share it with somebody, a sister, mother, aunt, cousin, niece, whoever. Share this, get this message out there. And y'all know, like we always say, what happened to you may not be your fault, but healing is your responsibility. We'll see you next time.